For nearly 20 years, Amy Fleming has been the steady heartbeat of Heartland, a fierce yet gentle force who healed broken horses and broken hearts alike. Through triumphs and tragedies, she's been our anchor, our inspiration, and the soul of the ranch we've all come to call home. But now, in a season finale that will send shockwaves through the entire Heartland community, everything we thought we knew is about to be upended. In an earth-shattering twist, Amy's future hangs in the balance, leaving viewers stunned and emotionally raw. As the dust settles, one haunting question remains. Is this the end of Amy's story? Her absence threatens to unravel the very foundation of the Bartlett Fleming legacy. How will Jack, Lo, Tim, and especially young Lindy cope without her? And what does this mean for the future of Heartland itself? This is more than just a finale, it's a seismic moment that redefines everything. The most emotional, gut-wrenching chapter in Heartland history is upon us, and nothing will ever be the same. Get ready to witness a turning point that will break your heart and leave you breathless. Because when the heart of Heartland is in jeopardy, what remains? Are you prepared for the twist that changes everything? The season opened with a rare and welcome sense of hope. After years of loss, rebuilding, and quiet resilience, Amy Fleming seemed to be finally finding her footing again. She had just achieved a groundbreaking success in her equine therapy work, helping a series of troubled horses that no one else could reach, reminding everyone, and perhaps even herself, that her gift was not only intact, but evolving. The family, still carrying the memory of Ty like a scar etched into their hearts, appeared more unified than ever. Lou was thriving in her career and reconnecting with her roots. Jack continued to be the silent strength behind them all. Even Lindy was growing into her own, showing signs of her mother's intuition. For the first time in a long time, it felt like Heartland was breathing again. But as the episodes unfolded, that feeling of security began to fray. It wasn't immediate or obvious. The descent was subtle, a quiet unraveling that crept in like morning fog, barely noticed until it swallowed everything whole. It began with things so small they were easy to overlook. A broken fence that no one remembered damaging, tools misplaced and found in odd places, the horses skittish without cause. There was a vague, almost imperceptible shift in the energy of the ranch. Conversations felt strained. Laughter, when it came, didn't last. And Amy, ever the soul of calm and control, began to feel something she couldn't name rising in her chest, unease. At first, she dismissed it. Everyone did. Life was busy. Stress was normal. But the tension didn't go away. In fact, it grew. The horses, Amy's most trusted confidants, started reacting in unfamiliar ways, spooked by nothing, unwilling to engage. Her methods weren't working, and she couldn't understand why. Where she once felt in sync with them, she now felt disconnected, as if something or someone had come between them. The people closest to her began to shift too. Lou was distant, distracted by something she wouldn't talk about. Peter was present in body, but withdrawn in spirit, carrying a silence Amy couldn't crack. Georgie, usually the one to sense tension quickly, avoided eye contact and buried herself in training. Even Jack, the rock of the ranch, seemed changed, quieter, more contemplative, his eyes always scanning the horizon like he was waiting for something to arrive or return. Amy tried to stay strong, to believe that this was all just a phase. But deep down, something told her this was different. This wasn't just about grief or exhaustion. There was a new kind of heaviness hanging over Heartland, something unspoken, something ominous. The air felt thicker, the nights longer. And Amy's dreams, once filled with memories of Ty's warmth and reassurance, began turning dark. Fragmented images, flickers of places she didn't recognize, whispers she couldn't understand. Then everything changed. It came without warning, a phone call in the middle of the night. The voice was unfamiliar, tight with urgency and laced with fear. "You need to come to the ranch. Now. Something's wrong. It's about Ty." That one sentence cracked everything open. Amy didn't hesitate. She threw on a jacket, jumped into her truck, and tore through the night, headlights cutting through fog as her heart pounded with dread. Questions raced through her mind. What could this mean? Ty was gone. Was someone desecrating his memory? Or was there something even more chilling waiting for her? When she arrived, the ranch didn't feel like home. It felt like a place that had been hollowed out. The wind moaned through the trees. The horses stamped restlessly in their stalls. The barn door hung open, creaking softly as it swung. Inside, the silence was absolute until she found the note. Pinned to the wall, written in sharp, deliberate strokes, were 5 words that would haunt her forever. The past can't stay buried. It wasn't just a message. It was a warning, a summons, a shift in the story that had no roadmap. Amy stood frozen, the paper trembling in her hand as a chill seeped into her bones. Everything she had tried to rebuild, everything she thought she had healed from, was it all about to come undone? Was this about Ty's death, or something that predated even that? Was someone trying to reach her or torment her? One thing was clear. The life Amy had fought so hard to rebuild was about to be tested in ways she could never have imagined. As storm clouds gathered in the distance, one truth became undeniable. Something was coming. Something dark, something powerful, something connected to the past Amy thought she had left behind. And it had only just begun. Could the sudden shift in energy around Heartland be leading to an unimaginable loss? The questions flooded her thoughts, but she knew one thing for sure: she couldn't face it alone. As the stakes grew higher, Amy would have to rely on the people she loved to uncover the truth before it was too late. The pieces of the puzzle were just beginning to fall into place, but they were scattered and some were about to become deadly. The calm before the storm was quickly fading. The show that fans had loved for years was about to take a turn that no one could have predicted. Was Amy Fleming's fate sealed from the moment she stepped into the barn that night? Or was this just the beginning of a much more dangerous game, one that would end with the death of a beloved character, leaving fans reeling and questioning everything they thought they knew? Amy's journey was heading toward a devastating climax, but no one could guess just how close they were to the final tragic moment. The time for answers was running out. The storm was coming. And it was coming for Amy Fleming. Would she survive? In the days following the chilling discovery in the barn, the atmosphere at Heartland grew increasingly heavy oppressive, like a storm gathering just beyond the horizon. Amy couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching her. Her nights became plagued with sleeplessness, her mind caught in an endless loop of questions with no answers. The note "the past can't stay buried" echoed louder with every passing hour, like a ghost whispering through the cracks of her peace. Who had sent it? And why now, after everything she had fought to rebuild? Still, Amy did what she had always done. She carried on. She threw herself into her work with the horses, masking the fear behind a determined calm. She tried to laugh with Lo, to be present for Lindy, to share coffee and silence with Jack. But the unease didn't fade. It deepened. It spread. It wasn't just a thought at the edge of her mind anymore. It was a weight, cold, invisible, and constant. Every creaking floorboard, every gust of wind through the trees felt loaded with meaning. The ranch, the place that had always brought her peace, felt foreign now. Like something sacred had been disturbed. Like the land itself was warning her. Then, it happened again. One quiet morning, as the sky turned silver with the first light of dawn, Amy's phone rang. The screen was blank, no name, no number. Her heart stuttered. With trembling fingers, she answered. There was a pause. Then, a voice, distorted, hollow, almost inhuman, slid through the line. Amy Fleming, it rasped. You think you've left the past behind? But it's found you. The things you buried, they're not dead. And this time, there's no escaping what's coming. The line cut off. Silence. No trace. No explanation. Amy stood frozen, phone pressed to her ear, her blood turning to ice. The voice was unlike anything she had heard, but the threat? That felt real. Too real. What did they mean? What's coming? Who were they? And how did they know her so intimately? She told no one. She buried the fear, wore a brave face, and went about her day. But it followed her into the stables, into the kitchen, into her dreams. Even the horses, usually so in tune with her calm presence, mirrored her anxiety. They became jittery, reactive. Trust, once so effortless, now had to be earned with every step. Lou began watching Amy more closely, her protective instincts stirring. Jack said little, but Amy could see the worry etched in his weathered face. He had seen Amy broken before, but this was something darker. This wasn't grief. This was fear. And it was growing. Desperate for clarity, for even a moment of stillness, Amy found herself drawn to the river, the same quiet place where she had once sought comfort after Ty's death. But that night, the familiar flow of the current sounded more like a warning than a balm. The air was thick, unmoving. The trees whispered things she couldn't quite understand. And then something shifted. Across the riverbank, a figure emerged from the shadows. At first, Amy told herself it was a trick of the light. A deer. A hallucination born of stress. But no, the figure was too tall. Too human. It stood completely still, as if it had been waiting for her. She squinted, heart pounding, every nerve on edge. Then the figure stepped forward. Amy's breath caught in her throat. It was Caleb, Ty's old friend, a part of their shared past, long absent too long. His sudden reappearance was both shocking and deeply unsettling. He looked different, older, harder. There was pain in his eyes, but something else too, something he wasn't saying. "Amy," he said, voice low, heavy, and rough with things left unspoken. Amy took a step closer, confusion etched across her face. "Caleb? What are you doing here? I haven't seen you in years. What's going on?" He hesitated, visibly torn, before answering. "There's something I should have told you, something I should have said a long time ago. But I didn't. I thought I was protecting you." Amy stared at him, her pulse roaring in her ears. "Protecting me from what?" He took a breath that sounded like it hurt. His jaw tightened. "They're coming, Amy. And they're not just coming for you, they're coming for the ranch. For everything." Amy stepped back, heart racing. Who? Who's coming? Caleb's silence was deafening. What had he kept from her? And why now, after all these years, was it finally resurfacing? As the wind rose around them and the river rushed on like an omen, Amy realized something terrifying. This wasn't just about the past. This was the beginning of a reckoning. Before Caleb could answer, the sound of tires screeching on the gravel road shattered the quiet night like a gunshot. Amy spun around instinctively, heart leaping into her throat. Headlights flickered through the trees, casting long, twisted shadows across the riverbank. But when she turned back to Caleb, he was gone. Gone without a sound. No footprints. No parting words. Just the empty space where he had stood, as if the darkness had swallowed him whole. Amy stood frozen, her breath coming in shallow bursts, trying to process what had just happened. Had he really been there at all? Or had grief, exhaustion, and fear finally pushed her too far? But no, his voice, his warning, the haunted look in his eyes, it had been real. And whatever Caleb had meant to say, it was clear that something dangerous was closing in. Something or someone was coming for her. For Heartland. The storm that had once been just a whisper in the air was now thundering toward them, no longer content to hide in the shadows. The next morning, with the weight of the encounter pressing heavily on her chest, Amy sat down with Lo and Jack. She recounted everything: Caleb's sudden appearance, the mysterious phone call, the note in the barn. Every detail spilled from her lips, each word laced with urgency and dread. Lou stiffened, her eyes sharp with worry. "This isn't random, Amy. Whoever this is, they know you. They know the ranch. And they're playing mind games. We need to take this seriously now." Jack leaned forward, his weathered hands clasped tight, his jaw clenched. The calm, reassuring steadiness he usually carried had shifted into something grimmer. "We've been through fire before," he said, his voice low. "But this feels different. This isn't just bad luck or coincidence. This is deliberate. We need to find out who's behind it, and fast." Amy nodded, but the fear inside her was coiling tighter, like a storm about to break open. There was no more time for doubt. Something dangerous was circling, threatening everything she loved: her family, her home, and her daughter's future. And the worst part, it felt personal. That afternoon, Amy began digging. Through old records, old photos, old memories, chasing the faint echoes of a past she had never fully understood. What she found shook her to the core. This wasn't just about her. It was about her mother. Marion Fleming's past, long buried beneath decades of silence and half-told stories, was beginning to unravel, and at the center of it all was a name Amy hadn't heard in years: Oliver Rhodes. Once a trusted friend of Marion's, Rhodes had disappeared under a cloud of suspicion after a series of questionable dealings. But what Amy didn't know, what Marion had never spoken about, was just how deep his ties ran. Marion had trusted him once, perhaps even cared for him. And in doing so, she had unknowingly opened a door that could never be fully closed. Now, years later, Rhodes had returned, and this time, he wasn't just circling the edges. He was here with a plan, with revenge, and with a darkness Amy could feel pressing in from every direction. The cryptic warnings, the phone calls, the sudden reappearance of Caleb. They were all signs, breadcrumbs leading to something far more sinister. What did Rhodes truly want? Was this about reclaiming something he believed was stolen from him? Or was it about punishing the Fleming family for sins long past? The more Amy uncovered, the clearer it became. Marion's choices made in desperation, maybe even love, had set events in motion that were still playing out decades later. And now, Amy was the one left to pick up the pieces of a broken history she never asked for. But was she the target? Or was Heartland itself, the place that had become a sanctuary for so many, the real aim of this vendetta? One thing was certain: the battle ahead wouldn't just test Amy's strength as a horse trainer or a mother. It would test her courage as the true heir to Marion's legacy. A legacy shadowed by secrets and haunted by one man who had waited too long to be forgotten. The storm wasn't coming anymore. It had arrived. The truth grew darker still when Amy uncovered something that sent a chill through her bones: a paper trail hidden in decades-old land dispute files that exposed a deeply rooted conspiracy. Oliver Rhodes hadn't just resurfaced with a personal grudge. He had been laying the groundwork for years. Bribes, manipulated surveys, coerced signatures, and threats masked behind friendly handshakes, all roads led back to him. Heartland was never just a ranch. It was a crown jewel in a bitter, silent war over legacy, land, and power. And Amy was no longer just Marion's daughter. She was the key to ending what had started long before she was born. Then came the moment that turned foreboding into fear. On a quiet afternoon, with the wind eerily still, a solitary figure approached the ranch gates. He didn't speak. He didn't wave. He simply stood there, watching. It was Albert Rhodes Oliver's estranged brother, a man whose name had lingered in old conversations and faded letters, always in tones of caution. He had stayed out of the public drama. Until now. Amy locked eyes with him from across the fence, and in that moment, a gut-deep dread settled inside her. His presence wasn't a coincidence. It wasn't an act of reconciliation. It was a message. Something was coming, and whatever it was, it would test every bond, every truth, and every ounce of strength Amy had left. The game was no longer in the shadows. The battle for Heartland had begun. To every loyal viewer, reader, and dreamer who's journeyed through these emotional twists with us, thank you. Your love for Heartland, your unwavering belief in Amy's resilience, and your passion for this family story has made every chapter matter. What lies ahead will challenge everything we thought we knew, but it's your support that gives this story its heart. Stay with us, because this isn't just a story about a ranch. It's about the people who fight to protect what they love, no matter the cost. And Amy Fleming's most powerful ride is still to come.